the bottom line, what we strive for is the rule of law to make us free and keep us free.
So I think we want to be done by 8. So I'm going to, Father Bassick had a question, and I'm going to let Father Bassick close with the last question, and then I'm going to ask you to be your pithy best.
Walter and I have had many conversations, so this is a continuation of that. And I'm greatly appreciative of what Roger and Kenny have to say. And Walter, this would be along those same lines. Catholic tradition actually for a long time was not in favor of rights because it was in favor of duties. In other words, as moral agents, we have obligations. And so it started with the sense of duties, and then it began to ask that about which I have duties. So if another person is dying, then yes, it is murder if we could help them and they don't survive. So the answer is clearly yes to Walter. Now, when you're talking about the difference between positive and negative rights, I suspect, I suspect, Walter, that you're in favor of the positive right to freedom. But maybe I'm wrong. Because exercise of freedom is perhaps something that you don't want to do. Similarly, the exercise, you do talk about the right to property, but the conversation we've had before is, I don't think Locke is convincing that we have a right to property, or at least I don't think you've made an argument other than to assert that Locke gives us the right to property. It seems to me the right to life is far more important, fundamental, than the right to property. I can understand why I have a right to life, to my life far more easily than I can have an understanding of why I have a right to my homestead.
Who would you like to answer?
Anyway.
We'll let him get the last word in, actually. Let's be clear, I'll be brief. Let's define what a right is here. A right is some human capacity that government is required to respect. So if you don't believe in government anyway, you think everybody can just sort of do their own thing and somehow this is all going to work out, obviously then you're not interested in this. But if you do believe in government and you believe in rule of law, then government has a right, has an obligation to respect whatever rights those are. So I'm simply arguing that the right to life is primary. I'm not saying it's the only right that we have. And I think the schedule of rights can change from country to country in time and place and conditions. However, the right to life is primary because none of the other rights that we can extrapolate can be enjoyed except in life. Now, Father Bassick, I know you believe in life eternal. I'm Jewish myself. I'm hopeful for something after this world, but we're talking about life in this world. So my simple point here is for government and purposes of government, if there's not a primary respect for the right to life, then none of the other rights will actually be adequately observed, and they'll all sort of collapse in on themselves. And that's my point. I'm done.
Well, I would again reiterate that, and I would just point out that in terms of the Catholic tradition, which Father Bassick just pointed out, the late John Paul II, even when he came to the United States, because of the high abortion rate, the murder rate, guns, imprisonment, he called this country a culture of death. Well, that's very hard for Americans to swallow. But he said that repeatedly on his visits here, that the United States has become a culture of death, and that the only way out from that is to reaffirm a culture of life. And he was, grew up under the Nazis and then under communism. He did believe, in the best sense, I hope, in the rule of law. I think he was heavy-handed in terms of canon law, church law, but civil law, in his couple of addresses to the UN, he spoke about this. Actually, he used the language of human rights. John Paul II repeatedly talked about human rights. And I think, whether you're Catholic or not, that's a very strong condemnation which he made when he came to this country repeatedly. And I know it's very hard for most Americans to swallow that. But he was particularly talking about homicide rates, gun proliferation, and now we have, I think, one gun for every man, woman, and child in this country, 330,000 guns. Europeans think, if you go there spending time, that we are insane on guns. They really do. They don't even, they look at you like another planet. And also the incarceration rate, and again, the abortion rate. That's exactly what he's talking about.
Are we going to have like a 5-minute summing up after this, or is this it?
I think this is it.
Okay, I have the last word.
skip class. I skip class with us and ask one question. It's only for one individual. After block speaks.
It'll be a short, after, Professor, why don't you ask after?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, after. I mean, like,
After
we're
we talk.
going to release people, and you're welcome to ask after. Go ahead.
I'll sum up. I think Piketty is a moron. He makes a distinction between interest rates and profit rates. He's totally crazy. If the Jews in Germany had had guns, maybe Hitler wouldn't have killed them so easily. Maybe those hoodlums wouldn't have been able to push him around like they were pushing him around. The reason we have guns is we're afraid of government. Roger says government is the foundation of rights, but this guy Rummel did a study of how many people governments killed apart from wars, and it was almost 200 million in the last century. Government is an evil and abomination. The rule of law is all well and good, but Hitler had a rule of law. The Aryan's good, the other guy's bad. That was a rule of law. Rule of law is necessary, but not sufficient. You have to have more than just the rule of law. You have to have the rule of just law, and just law is the libertarian law of non-aggression. With regard to the right to freedom, that's not a positive right, that's a negative right. Freedom means everyone has an obligation to leave me the hell alone. So there's no confusion there, there's no balancing of individual rights for the libertarian. And I don't understand this thing that it's sort of like Moses and Christ and faith and religion. Roger didn't back that up. I don't see why it is that way. It just seems to me Adam Smith did speak about morality. He talked about the obvious and natural system of justice, which was laissez-faire capitalism. Ken is quite right. There are some sweatshops where they beat the people and they whip them and they don't. But look, there are murderous accountants and there are murderous engineers and there are murderous professors and there are a lot of murderous people out there. I'm not defending that. What I'm saying is that there's a reason that they flock to Walmart and they flock to these sweatshops because they're giving them a better offer. Not just a better monetary offer, but a better working condition offer. I reiterate that if these two people, if these two gentlemen, these scholars really understood what libertarianism is, they would be libertarians. The only reason that they haven't embraced it is they don't understand it. They keep confusing it. They keep claiming that it's got to do with mass murder or something like that. It's the very opposite. Thanks for your attention.
We're going to close the formal version of the panel. I'm sure if you have a question, come on up, and I'm sure.
I'll ask this question out loud.